Hey, it's Jesse from the Biggest Guys Locker Room. You guys ever thought about starting your own podcast? Whether it be for business, personal, or simply talking about the things you love? Well, I can honestly say when we started our podcast, it was the best decision and it's the most fun we've ever had. But starting a new podcast can be overwhelming at times. And that's where Buzzsprout comes in. Buzzsprout is the best way to start your own professional podcast. They're so good, they've already helped out over 100,000 podcasters get their message out to the world. Buzzsprout offers you so many tools, like a great-looking podcast website, audio players that you can drop into other websites, detailed analytics to see how people are listening, and tools to promote your episodes, and more and more and more. Buzzsprout even gets your show listed on every major podcast platform, such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. They provide so many tools to help you get started with tutorials on YouTube, podcast tutorials, everything you may need to get your journey started. So if you're looking to start your professional podcast today, follow the link in the show notes. This lets Buzzsprout know that we sent you and help support our show. Buzzsprout, the easiest way to start a podcast. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Biggest Guys Locker Room. Got a fantasy football edition with a special guest today. We got RT in the house. What's going on, buddy?
Champ is here. The champ is here.
Yeah, the defending champ. Yep, yeah. You better bring that belt to the draft. You know this, right?
I was gonna bring it tonight, but I figure I'd wait till everyone's together and I show everyone.
There you go. All right, well, got a special show for you guys. He's joined us, and we're gonna talk receivers today. Nothing league specific. We're just gonna talk league receivers in general. We'll go through this. We're going to pick 3 guys that we believe are going to be bust, and we're going to pick 3 guys we think are going to go boom. Now, this is based on where they're going as far as draft position. If they're going high and we feel like they're going to fall, these guys are going to be labeled as our bust. The boom picks are going to go higher than their draft position are right now. So, RT, why don't you start us off, man? Who's your first bust?
My first bust, I got to go with Garrett Wilson. I've seen him go as high as the second round in some drafts, and I just don't see him putting up numbers just because he has Aaron Rodgers there. Rodgers is more of he had the Vonte Adams over there in Green Bay, but I just think he's going to rely more on a combination of Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook going down the line. And Breece can catch as well. But with Garrett Wilson, I just don't see him putting up projected numbers. They have him over 85 receptions with 1,200 yards, and I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's been skepticism on that one because these guys, they want to play defense. I think they're going to try to control the ball a little bit more. I think they're going to be a slower pace style that I don't think most people are going to realize because I think they're just going to want to hold on to that lead. So, but it's going to be curious to see what happens this coming season because everybody thinks that Garrett Wilson, of course, is going to be the next Vonte Adams for Aaron Rodgers. I mean, it could go the other way. I mean, I can see him getting the majority of the targets as far as the target share. But I like I said, I think they're going to, with the signing of Dalvin Cook, I think this team wants to run the ball a little bit more, control the clock, and play D. I think that's the way they want to win games, especially in that division, playing against teams like Miami and Buffalo, who love to air it out. You know already Josh Allen's going to throw the ball to Stephon Diggs all the time. You already know what Miami's got with those track stars they have down there. Of course, with New England's always going to be New England. They're trying to figure their stuff out. So, but defensively, I think that's where the Jets are going to play to their strength. So, I mean, it's not a bad pick. I like Wilson. I don't like him at his current draft position. I think he should be more of a third-round guy. I think that everybody's kind of reaching for him a little early, which is understandable. But, hey. That's his pick to go bust, so. All right. My first one that I've got on my list is Vonte Adams. He's got Jimmy Garoppolo there. Me and George kind of hit it on the last show where we talked about, are they going to go to that old school New England style offense that McDaniels was good, running. Garoppolo was great. That was why he built his whole thing up. If that's the case, that does not play into the Vonte Adams' strengths. That's more of a Hunter Renfrow kind of ordeal there that he's got. And I think that's why they went and got Myers.
Yes.
Because that's his specialty, that short. I think it's going to hurt because Garoppolo's not throwing the ball 40 yards on the field. That's just not his strong suit. And I think that's what's going to hurt Devontae. Now, Vonte Adams, for the last, I believe if you calculate the last 6 years, he is the highest fantasy scoring receiver in the league. I think that tapers off. I think that falls out. I don't think he's a top 10 receiver this year.
Wow.
I know that hurts your heart because I know you're a Raider fan. But I don't see it. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that one?
I agree with you in regards to Jimmy not throwing the ball down deep. He don't have the arm strength for that. But Devontae doesn't always have to go deep either. He's a great route runner. He can break off, and I guess I see Hunter Renfrow taking more in the slot due to that. So he'll probably get a lot more receptions this year. But I still think Vonte Adams is still going to be a top 10 wide receiver.
I think you're going to have to get the touchdowns out of him, man. I think that's where you're going to have to get the touchdowns. But I don't know. With Josh Jacobs now signing that new deal, I think they're going to run the heck out of that ball when you get down there in that red zone and let him do work.
Yeah. Josh Jacobs and that new $12 million deal.
Yeah, up to $12 million. I didn't get the specifics of it yet, but yeah, it's worth up to $12 million. I'm sure it's a lot of incentive based as far as percentage of carries and stuff like that.
Yeah, so they're going to have to utilize him because they're paying the man. It's not like New England with Zeke's $1 million contract. Yeah. They're not going to use him much at all, I believe. But yeah, that's a good take.
Yeah, so that's my first. That's my first buzz. So, all right. Give me your second one. This one, you're hitting me with this one. I know. So go ahead. What's yours?
So I had to come up with Deebo Samuel. He was utilized heavily as what they call that, a wing receiver, wing back, whatever. Yeah. So with Christian McCaffrey now on that team from the beginning of the year, I think is going to take a lot of looks away from Deebo in regards to receiving as well, because CMC is a catching back. And Purdy, he didn't look too good in the preseason. If anything, I went with Deebo just being low because CMC's there to take the production away from him.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to cause him to bust this year. I also have a boom was Brandon Ayuk. I think Ayuk.
There you go. So, all right.
I think he's going to be the leading receiver for the Niners this year.
Well, he was last year, and a lot of people think that was a fluke. I'm kind of with you on this one because a lot of Deebo Samuel's, spark was the fact that he played that wingback position where he was getting the ball out of the backfield a lot. They were finding ways to get him the ball. I think when McCaffrey got there, it completely changed the way that offense was going to be run. So you're not going to utilize that whole running skill of Deebo anymore. He's gonna have to catch passes like a traditional receiver. And that goes to the part where they traded Trey Lance.
Yes.
Yeah, everybody goes, oh, they would have kept him. I've heard the marks of they should have kept him because they've had the injuries and everything going down. I just don't think. I think they kept the three guys that can run that offense the way it's set up now. You can't run that offense if you have Trey Lance as your quarterback. You got to entirely change the game because that's not his skill set. I think you're right on this one. I think Deebo is actually should be the lower ranked receiver in this Niners offense. I think Ayuk's going to be the guy. I think Kittle could surprise some people because Purdy does like to throw to Kittle in the red zone.
Big body.
Yeah.
Big body.
Yep. He's going to play simple football. He's not going to force it to anybody. That was proven last year. It's going to be interesting, but I think you're right. I think the boom is going to be Ayuk, and I think the bust is going to be Deebo.
In that offense.
Yeah, in that offense.
In fantasy, too, I think Ayuk has a much better value.
Oh, yeah.
In comparison to Deebo.
Yeah, I just think in the catches, I think they'll be similar in catches, but I think you're going to look at the down the field yards are going to be Ayuk. So the bigger plays, if you're looking for the bigger upside, it's definitely going to be Ayuk. You're going to have to throw those little slants at Deebo. And listen, he's pretty proven that he can't stay healthy when taking those big hits. Going over middle, you're going to take them licks. Buddy.
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean, I agree with you on that one. It stinks because Deebo, man, they paid him all that money. And usually when you pay that money, you want to see the guy produce. I just don't think that one was going to work out. I remember signing that. If you were going to utilize him like they did 2 years ago, then absolutely he was worth every penny. But if you're not,
offense changed.
Yeah, the offense, everything changed. The way they were building that team, everything kind of changed. Especially last year when they went out and got Chris McCaffrey, changed the whole narrative. All right, man, go ahead. Give me your last bus. What do you got for your last bus?
Calvin Ridley. We haven't seen him.
Yeah, in years.
Yeah. And now this guy comes up and he's getting picked, it's still mid rounds, like 4th, 5th round, but I just don't see
The
him.
hype, man. The hype around Calvin Ridley.
Well, I think it's because of Trevor Lawrence. He has an arm, and Ridley's a fast wide receiver, but we haven't seen him. So I
mean, what is he? He's 28 and he's still on his 28, 29, and he's still on his rookie deal because he's missed so many years. I mean, he's still on his first contract. I mean, that's insane to be almost 30 and still working on your rookie contract. I worry about this guy mentally.
Yes, because
he's had that. That's his MO. He's not mentally strong. I mean, I agree with you. I don't see Calvin Ridley, the hype around Calvin Ridley. I know George has looked at him in camp. He said he looks great. Everybody talks about how much they love him. Well, I mean, what else are they going to say? They're not going to say they hate the guy. I mean, they went out and traded for him. So
yeah.
I just don't think mentally he's going to be there, and to be missing that. I mean, look at Deshaun Watson last year. He missed, 2 years of football? He looked awful.
Yes.
Coming back.
So I'm glad I didn't pick him up.
I know a lot of people did, and what you got was not what you were thinking. I mean, that is not the Houston Texans version of Deshaun Watson. That was something else. But I don't know. Maybe it's just the curse of the Browns uniform.
That could be it. But then that leads me into my boom with Amari Cooper. They currently have him as a number 18 wide receiver in fantasy. And their floor for him is a number 28 wide receiver, with the top being number 11. I know we just talked about Deshaun, but Deshaun likes to fling it. Mm-hmm. He'll throw it down the field. He did it with Hopkins. They had a bad team, and they still somehow made the playoffs, and their defense is they still got Myles Garrett there. I think their defense is going to be good enough to keep them in the games. And it just depends on Deshaun throwing it down the field to Amari Cooper, because Cooper is still fast. He's still, he hasn't dropped as many balls as he did in Oakland. Mm-hmm. But I think this is when Amari goes back to his Dallas days this year.
Yeah, a little more explosive.
Yeah, he's got.
I know he looked good with Jacoby Brissett last year, and then of course he got that whatever version of Deshaun that was, and it all went away. But I mean, then they did get Elijah Moore this year. They went out and got him, so they do have another weapon there. You don't have to. What was the number 2 last year? Donovan Peoples-Jones last year.
Yes,
man. I mean, that's.
They got Njoku still, which I really like. That's solid tight end. But I think Amari Cooper, he's going to crack top 10.
Oh, absolutely.
90-plus receptions, and I think he's going to go for 1,200 yards. I really think
I know a lot of people are high on it. George is a big believer in Amari Cooper this year as well. Who's your other boom? Who else you got going?
This is for Lee, I guess. Deontay Johnson. This guy had 147 targets last year with only 86 receptions.
And how many touchdowns did he have?
1.
No, he didn't. He had zero. It was completely zero. He didn't even have 1 touchdown last year.
Wow. All right. So he had a 27% target share. I think Deontay Johnson is going to be the biggest boom this year in regards to where he's drafted. He's going late 7th, 8th round. And I just think, he's dropped to 9th round in some leagues as well. But I think Deontay Johnson has a big year coming for him.
I think so. I think he has a decent. I've watched Pickett in some preseason games. He looks more confident in running that offense. Last year, you could tell he was a little wide-eyed rookie, but he looks solid this year. I think Deontay Johnson and George Pickens, I think have go way above where they're being drafted right now. I think people are undervaluing him right now. But I know Pickens has moved up everybody's ladder, especially with his deep threat ability, his catch radius. I mean, the guy's a beast going to get the ball. But yeah, I really like that. I really like that pick. That's a good pick. I mean, yeah, especially with that 140. He's got to find the end zone, right?
Yes, He can't
go 2 years with 0 touchdowns.
Oh man, if that happens, wow! I don't think anybody's gonna pick him up next year.
Nah, it's all right. He's still better than, he'll still have a job. Allen Robinson's still in the league. I was talking about him. That man's on the like I said the last show, he's on the all NFL cardio team. That man just goes out there, runs 98 routes, and gets thrown the ball once or twice.
Yeah. Man, if only I was a little bit taller.
But, all right, so what of course, I have my my Vonte Adams pick for a bust. My other bust, DeAndre Hopkins. In Tennessee, I think mostly's got him going, 20 to 25. Some have him a little higher. The last time they produced a top 20 wide receiver, I mean, you couldn't do it with A.J. Brown. What makes you think you're going to do it on an older version of DeAndre Hopkins?
Yeah, that offense is built around Derrick Henry and always will be around Derrick Henry. That's a running offense.
And they got no quarterback. Like Ryan Tannehill, he's kind of done. I think his better days are behind him. And then you got Malik Willis and Will Levis. Yeah, Will Levis.
That's who they picked up this year, right?
Yeah,
the guy that sat in the draft room.
Oh yeah, he was an early second round guy. Oh man, it's looked bad. He couldn't even beat up Malik Willis, who looked like garbage last year.
Oh yeah,
I mean he was awful last year. So yeah, I'm not really liking the DeAndre Hopkins choice here.
How far was he being drafted up?
He's going in the mid to early 20s is kind of where people are going. Yes, he's going to be the number one guy. He's going to probably have 30% target share, but are they going to how quality are they going to be?
Right.
You know. So, and then of course the other one, this guy's going 20th. I like him, but I don't like him where he's going. So I think he's going to be a bust just simply on where he's going ADP, and it's DJ Moore.
Oh, he got Justin Fields.
Yeah, Justin Fields.
He runs.
He can't throw. He's so inaccurate. It's so bad to watch. I remember watching the highlight reels of how open Darnell Mooney was last year, and he couldn't get him the ball.
And they wouldn't have to pick up DJ Moore if they had if he hit Darnell Mooney last year.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't know. I think you're going to have to manifest short passes. Me and George talked about this. I think a couple episodes ago. You're going to have to run short routes with DJ Moore. He's going to have to produce a run after the catch.
Yeah, that's what happened in their second preseason game, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, that 1 yard pass that went for 60 something yards. I mean, it literally like the air yardage, I think was like 2 or 3 yards for both touchdown passes he had. Wow. And they were both screenplays. And I think that's where you're going to have to go with it. I just don't see that working throughout the entire year. I can see it working here and there against bad defenses.
Yes.
I just don't see that happening.
But maybe they're like, hey, I got Pocket Kings one hand and I'm going all in and everybody's calling. And then, I got 2-4 offsuit and they're going to play the screen. But then here, I just throw it deep and hopefully it hits them.
I don't think it'll hit something that ain't hitting the receiver. I'll tell you that. But a couple of my boom ones that I really liked. Like I said, we just talked about it. I like George Pickens. I think I think his wide receiver ranking right now is high 30s. That's where he's kind of going. He's going really late in drafts. He's starting to move up a little bit. I think he's going to have a heck of a year. Just with the Pickett improving, he looks more confident. We talked about that. I think he knows that offense. They got 2 good running backs there that are going to run the ball. You're going to take your shots. If he can run that play action, I think he's going to be fine with George Pickens. I think George Pickens is going to be monster in the touchdown. I think he's going to be the guy's a massive man. Had he not been hurt, he would have gone sooner where he was drafted. The kid's good. I think he's going to be a top 20 receiver, and he's going almost at 40. So I think that's a big move up there. I don't know. What do you think?
I like that Pickens too, but I don't think he's going to outperform Deontay Johnson because they're similar.
I mean, I think you're going to get the volume to Deontay Johnson. I think the boom value if you're getting, especially if you are in a league that has bonuses. I think that's where you're going to aim, especially where he's going at in drafts. I just think that he could be a top 20 receiver easily with the touchdown.
Right. And he's going to be utilized in that red zone.
The dude's a beast. The dude's a beast of a man. The other one I had picking for a boom year, Zay Flowers.
Baltimore Ravens. Yeah.
I think that rookie, they look like they finally have a receiver. Everybody thinks Rashad Bateman. No. I mean, they only got that OBJ. I mean, way past his prime.
No, he's going to get hurt as soon as he catches the ball again.
He hasn't been the same in like 3 years, man. It's been brutal. I mean, when Dallas was hurting for a receiver and they were like, yeah, we're past. That should have told you everything. Jerry Jones didn't want to sign a big name. Come on, that man wants to sign every big name out there. That man's the Yankees. And he was like, nah, we're good. Michael Gallup's going to get through this. But I think Zay Flowers is going to be huge. That offense, of course, new offensive coordinator there. They're going to throw the ball a lot more. I think you have to with the injury concerns around Lamar Jackson from all the running. And he's an actually accurate quarterback. He can hit those passes. I mean, he's actually very accurate, and he can move around the pocket. I think you'll see a lot less running out of him, I think he'll run when he has to, but I don't think he's there. I think you'll see less design runs. Let me put it that way. I think you'll see less design runs with all the weapons they have there. Because if the running backs can stay healthy, they still have two good young running backs, Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins, that can run the ball. You don't need to be running your MVP caliber quarterback.
You shouldn't be running your MVP caliber quarterback. They should have went after trying to trade for Jonathan Taylor because J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards, they both coming off injuries. Again, second year in a row they're coming off injuries. And the Baltimore Ravens backfield, ever since Ray Rice had the Rice incident, hasn't been...
it hasn't been a running back...
Wasn't stable.
Yeah, it hasn't been stable. Exactly. It has not been stable. The other one I was really looking at as far as booming, and I had to kind of pivot because I did like Jackson Smith and Jigba, but now he got hurt. So now I had to kind of pivot from that. I am actually going to go with Jahan Dotson in Washington. I think Sam Howell's looked good in the preseason. Now, how will that translate? But it is Eric Bieniemy's offense. They're gonna be creative. I think Jahan Dotson, you saw it last year. He's explosive. He goes up. He's a great route runner. He can go up and get the 50-50 balls. I think he's going to be a massive player. I know I picked him up last year. He was kind of a sleeper pick for me last year. Then he got hurt.
Yes.
Bastard. But if he can stay healthy this year, I think he has a huge year. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that Washington offense?
Personally, I love Jahan Dotson. I know our redraft league isn't happening until this Tuesday, but I picked up Jahan Dotson in every single league that I have.
Oh, no kidding. Oh, yeah. Man, you got a huge stake in the Jahan Dotson.
I do. I really like his connection towards the later half of the year is when he connected with Sam Howell. Or that?
Oh, yeah. Because, they started Sam Howell a couple games towards the end there, and when Dotson kind of came.
And then even this preseason, they're seeing eye to eye more than, Scary Terry.
Yeah, I mean, and with Terry being hurt now, I mean, I thought Terry McLaurin was going to have a decent year because I thought they were going to throw the ball a lot more with Eric Bieniemy. But with McLaurin being hurt, if he can bounce back, he can still be a solid year. But I think now the more time, the more reps going with Jahan Dotson just plays more into Jahan Dotson's favor.
And they still have they got Brian Robinson coming back as well this year. And I think that offense, nobody gets shot or nothing else happens,
that's the fun thing you see because like Brian Robinson last year, I don't think you really saw the full Brian Robinson because, listen, the man was shot in the leg. You could see a different Brian Robinson this year. Everybody thinks, oh, man, he just can't break through the line. I don't know, maybe you see a more explosive Brian Robinson year or two, just having a nice camp, injury-free, getting fully healed. I could see Brian Robinson having a big year, with it, especially in the touchdowns.
Yeah, and my biggest, what I've come across is people wanting Washington to have their name back. And I'm really for it. I'm all for it.
I'm all for it.
Make Washington great again.
Yeah.
Dude.
I just, with the name changing thing, it's getting ridiculous. It's getting ridiculous, the whole name changing thing. I mean, I see both sides of it. It was so good for so long. So good for so long. So, but I mean, that remains to be seen. But I mean, I think Sam Howell is going to be. I think Sam Howell is going to be good. And I think that receiving room.
Oh yeah, yeah. They got a nice pickup with Sam Howell. I take him over Tennessee's quarterback core. I don't even know who else is out there that. This just as football, not as for fantasy or anything. But I like Sam Howell. Look at Desmond Ridder in Atlanta. We haven't really brought up anybody in Atlanta.
No,
I don't think.
I'm scared to pick anybody in Atlanta, man.
Yeah,
I just don't. Besides Bijan Robinson,
that's the only one that people are taking, and they're going to Kyle Pitts because they say, "Oh, he's going to do better, bro." You had Mariota last year. Now you got Desmond Ridder. It's
the same style of quarterback.
Yeah,
it's the same style of quarterback. Desmond Ridder is the same thing as Marcus Mariota. I don't think anybody realizes that yet.
Yeah, so that's why I think they're taking Bijan Robinson so high because he's great.
I mean, he's a great player. He's a great player. I think they're gonna run the ball. You already know that. Another bust candidate was Drake London because I know people are taking him. He's going in kind of the mid-20s right there as far as wide receiver rankings. I think it's the same as last year, to be honest
I
with
think
you.
he's just made out to bust this year because of his quarterback play.
Yeah, the quarterback position for Atlanta is scary. Because Ritter he wasn't a highly sought after guy. I don't think a whole lot of people saw huge potential in Ritter.
No.
He played at Cincinnati, right?
Yes,
Cincinnati. I don't know. I don't see it. The Atlanta Falcons offense scares me besides the running backs.
And then I can't bust Marquise Brown because nobody really drafted him.
Yeah, he could have a late spurt in a late year when Kyler Murray comes back. Because Kyler Murray. For everything that goes on, and the Arizona Cardinals do suck, but Kyler Murray can ball. Kyler Murray can ball. Now, how healthy is he going to be coming back? Can he still move the way he did? He was like a human joystick out there. The guy could change directions at snap of a finger. He, fantasy wise, he was going top 5 here the last few years.
Oh,
now,
yeah.
He's going undrafted in a lot of leagues. I've noticed that. Unless you're in a 2-quarterback league or a super flex, you're not really picking up the Murray experiment.
No.
So, yeah, that one could be that's going to be interesting to see. But
yeah, because Colt McCoy's his quarterback.
Yeah, but I think he's hurt, isn't he? I thought he.
And then
hurt.
they picked up who they traded for.
I think they got David Blau.
They traded from the Browns. The Browns quarterback. They just traded for him.
I don't know who that was. But yeah, that's a scary situation. That's a scary. I think you can take a late round flyer on Marquise Brown, planning on that second half of the season to be solid. James Conner, of course, you're gonna go with James Conner because if he does stay healthy, he's gonna get a lot of the rock, especially in the passing game, especially with the quarterbacks that are gonna be taking the place of Kyler Murray for the time being. They're gonna check down too.
If anything, Marquise Brown is a good boom candidate for where he's being drafted.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, he's actually not. It's not bad. You just have to be patient with him.
Yes.
And are you willing to hold on to him? That's going to be the biggest thing.
Yeah, so. And in our,
I know in our dynasty league, I don't think did anybody pick him up.
I got to take a look because I know in our redraft league we only have 4 bench spots. So
yeah, baby, we forced that movement. But yeah, I think somebody did draft him. To be honest with you, I think somebody did pick him up.
He's their number 1 in Arizona.
Yeah, he's going to be the number 1. There's really not much there. I think the next biggest one, and I think everybody's going to be shocked at, is Michael Wilson. He's going to be the number 2 guy there in Arizona. He's really good, young rookie out of Stanford. They say he's really picked up the offense. I know I was going to pick him up in our dynasty league, and then Nick jumped on that. When everybody screwed up the draft and didn't realize they needed to draft rookies to put down in their taxi squad.
I freaking autoed it at the last 4 picks, and then I looked back. I said, I got no one to throw in a taxi.
Yeah, there was a few teams. I was like, all right, I knew everybody's gonna mess this up because I think the night before, me and George had did a mock draft, and just goofing around with it, and he wasn't drafting any rookies, and I went, you're gonna have to draft the rookies, and he went, oh, I'm like. That's when it dawned on me, like, nobody's going to realize this. Nobody's going to realize that they're going to have to drop somebody. So that was why we went that one day of, all right, fix your rosters. No charges on waiver movements right now. But you did make the best move of the offseason in that league.
Dude.
The $75 Kirk Cousin bid, baby. Yeah, sweet that pop.
And then now I saw that our moves are $5 minimum.
Yes,
because Kevin got $1.
Yeah, he got the last one.
Yeah,
he got the just $1. And I was like, wait a minute, nah, we can't be having this.
Yeah, because Kevin, that guy likes to make moves.
He's gonna make too many moves. I'm like, we gotta bump that up a little bit.
So that was a good move, and everybody just sitting on the waiver wire now. Nobody's made any moves.
Yeah, nobody's made any moves. I think everybody's a little nervous. This is the first year we're playing the Dynasty, so it's a little different. Anybody who hasn't got into it, I'll tell you, it's a lot of fun. It's interesting. It's a little different mindset because this is going to be your team going forward. There's not a whole, oh, man, I got to draft that guy next year. You got to make trades. Now you got to make trades. So now you got rookie picks, and so now you got to pay attention to the guys in college. It just makes it a lot more fun. I think there's a lot more going on rather than just, all right, I can prep a couple weeks before the draft and just go. Dynasty is an all year round thing.
That's how I looked at it, and I paid $75 for Kirk Cousins. All right,
I know Q was really happy about that.
She was like, "What the?"
So, but anyways, man. So what else have you been enjoying about fan? I know you started your own league over there.
Yeah, I did start my own league, and we're having a little trouble filling it at first. It's pretty big. It's a $500 league with 5 lowest scorers paying up $10 transactions. So if you're dropping anyone, just one person, that's $10. You add one, that's $10. But if you do it in one move, then that's $10. So
okay, so it's per move.
Yes, per move. So I'm trying to get people away from just adding and dropping people for the heck of it.
Yeah.
And everybody is side betting in that league as well.
Ooh, man, you got some stuff being thrown around that thing, man.
I already do have a waiting list for next year. I got 4 people waiting to join that league.
Just expand it to a 12-team league.
I didn't want to expand to 12. I think 10 is going to be good for the moves.
Wait, with all that going on, man, come on, put that money together.
And then next year I got I'm going to make it a $10 a loss. So 17-week season. Whoever, they play the whole 17 weeks. Set your lineup for 17 weeks, not because you're out of it or whatever, but if you're going to lose, that's $170 you lose every week. And that goes to the main pot as well. So I'm trying to just make it fat.
Trying to make that big old pot, brother.
And that league is weird. That was a weird draft. We just drafted last week, and Josh Allen went in round 2.
Well, see, in a 10-team league, this is where kind of my advice goes. If you're drafting in a 10-team league, you know you're going to get some quality players because it's only 10 teams. You might as well go get the quarterback you want early if you want to jump on one of those high-rated ones, because there's going to be enough talent, especially receiver-wise. You're going to have enough of that going forward that, you can jump on it in the second and third round, jump on a quarterback early. That's my advice on a 10-team league. 12-team, you might want to wait. You don't want to jump on it too early because it will get scarce in that draft with that many teams going. No, I got a 12-team league going, draft going the week after this one for our Redraft Palace one. But that one's going to be interesting. So, but hey, we're enjoying fantasy football. It's almost football season. So, all you guys out there, please follow us on any platform you listen to podcasts. Leave us a review. Listen, we're on X, I guess is what's called now. It's not Twitter anymore. So follow us at Vegas Guys Locker Room on X. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. Follow us. Give us a like. Give us a thumbs up, guys. Whatever. Please just give us a review. It helps us get the show out there. I'd like to thank RT for showing up today, man. Appreciate you having it on the show.
Of course. And come by on Tuesday, guys. I'll have the belt there.
Yeah, buddy. It's going to be fun, guys. All right, guys. For Jesse and RT, man, we're going to see you guys later. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Vegas Guys Locker Room. Later.